Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and get started. Because I know it happened in the last session, I purposely am leaving a couple of more minutes free at the end of the session so that if anybody needs to mess around or play around with the application, with what the topic is, or have like extended questions, we have time for them. So I'm going to start right on the dot. And if you have any friends that are joining us as we go along, do feel free to let them know that there is a presentation shared in the chat. It's just a viewer only presentation, but the presentation itself is short, but what I'm going to focus on is more walking you through the actual app itself to kind of get that hands-on experience, because it's a whole lot better to learn GoodNotes kind of by doing rather than just by like reading it off of PowerPoint. So again, if you have your district issued device like your iPad, GoodNotes is already downloaded on here. If you have a personal device, just know that GoodNotes can be downloaded at a purchase. So if you are on your own iPad and want to have GoodNotes, just know it's at a cost to you. So I recommend going through this presentation first to see if it's for yourself worth it or not. But now that we're kind of getting started, hi, my name is Ms. Jimea Castillo. I am the CLL at John McKeever Elementary, and the topic for today is GoodNotes for effective planning and student engagement. Before we get started, go ahead and let me know in the chat, are we new to GoodNotes? Do we know about it? Are we experts at it? Go ahead and just tell me in a couple of words in the chat if it's new to you, if you know about it but you've never used it, or you're already familiar with it, just so that I know at what pace to go through in the presentation. I don't want to leave anybody behind or kind of go too slow for those that have actually used it. Heard about it but never used it. Like Mr. Ramirez, I love GoodNotes. I've been using it for the past like 3-4 years. It's amazing. So new, anybody else? Are we new to it? Are we familiar? Are we experts at it? All right, we've used it at like a basic level. All right, so that's good because my presentation is so short and I'm going to be messing more with the iPad. You'll get to see exactly what's suitable to your level of usage, because I'm already going to get this out of the way now. I know I told the other presentation as well. I'm not expecting anybody to use GoodNotes to either design anchor charts or go charts or create animations. GoodNotes is so simple that an expert and a novice can use it, and it'll be just as useful to both parties. So if you're new to it, like some of us are, that's great. If you know about it, that's great too. If you're an expert at it, maybe we'll learn something new together, or maybe you can share what you know about GoodNotes. But the good thing about it, or the most prominent feature about GoodNotes, is that it's so basic that it's useful to everybody, at least in my experience. So let's go ahead and get started. Do let me know if at any time like the presentation cuts off or if I cut off, just so I make sure nothing is missed. So kind of like a little pre-task before we get started, if you haven't done so already, we're going to set up your GoodNotes app. Why? Let me tell you why. The good thing about GoodNotes is that it can be synced up to your Google Drive. So that means that anything that is created within your GoodNotes can be uploaded to your Google Drive, and it's safe and sound there. We don't have to worry about like, oh, I lost a document, or hey, you know what? I want access to it, but I don't have my iPad. By doing this, by linking your GoodNotes to your Google Drive, if at any point you need something from your iPad, but you don't have it, and you have your phone and you have the Google Drive app on your phone, you can access on your phone whatever it is that you have on your GoodNotes just through Google Drive. So if for some reason you're on the pickup line and a parent wants to know, well, what did Juanito do today? Did they finish their work? What did their work look like? And you took a picture of their work, it's synced up to Google Drive, and you can open it on your phone, and it's ready for you to display it to the parent. I know I've actually used GoodNotes before in the past as a restroom log. So if I ever had a parent that tells me, why are you not letting my child go to the restroom? Well, ma'am, your child went to the restroom 7 times within 30 minutes. You know, maybe that's an issue we need to discuss. And I could just show it to her through my phone. So the way you want to do this to make sure everything is safe and uploaded and synced up, I'm going to switch out of the presentation. I'm actually going to show you my iPad screen. And again, they're the same steps that are there on the presentation. There's a little gear icon on the upper right-hand corner. You're going to go ahead and press that. Dropbox comes out. You're going to click on that 4th little tab that's titled Cloud and Backup. And you're going to go to the 3rd tab, which is Automatic Backup. Mine's already synced up. But if you're opening GoodNotes for the first time, or you've opened GoodNotes but you've never synced it to your Google Drive, you want to go to that second section where for you it'll say sign in to Google Drive. Once you've signed it into the Google Drive, anything that's created within GoodNotes is going to upload into your Google Drive. And I didn't get to show it to the last session. I just realized that right now. But the way it's displayed on your Google Drive is as a folder titled GoodNotes. So once you do this, in maybe like 10-ish minutes, you're going to see like this random folder pop up in your Google Drive. It's going to be titled GoodNotes. Anything on here is going to show up there. So again, these are the same little steps on that second slide on the presentation. Close that. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and sync those up. Remember, your Google Drive credentials are your PSJA credentials. So take the time to do that right now. Yes, Ms. Debbie, like Ms. Debbie said, GoodNotes is a free app on our district iPads. If you're on your own personal iPad, that'll be at a cost to you. But please make sure that if you don't want to pay for it, you're using your district issued iPad. And if you don't have one, reach out to your tech team, your lab manager, to see if you can get one assigned to you along with the stylus. I do believe, though, that the stylus are a hot commodity. So if you can find one, that's great. If you don't find one, ask your admin if maybe they can purchase new ones, because I know they get easily lost. Thank you, Ms. Debbie. So I'm going to keep going to the presentation. If you're setting up your GoodNotes, just try to pelar oído when I'm presenting. So the reason why I wanted to focus on GoodNotes as the topic of my presentation is because it's so useful, not only to the teachers, but also to the students. So for the teachers, it's this kind of like endless journal or endless folder where everything can be kept, everything can be annotated, and it's safely stored up there en la nube, como dice mi mamá, and nothing gets lost. Not only that, GoodNotes can actually allow you to integrate materials into whatever lesson plans you're working on or workbooks that you're working on, so that you don't have to be going back and forth from the iPad to the computer to your teacher editions or your TEs. Everything's just in one place. Now that's the planning aspect of it. For the student engagement part, the way I've used it for the past like 3-4 years is I use it to kind of walk around in my classroom as I'm annotating, as I'm taking notes, as I'm solving problems on my math workbooks. It allows me to kind of get out of my desk to actively monitor my students. And at times it can also help with student engagement to get them to participate, and those of us that are veteran teachers, I don't consider myself a veteran teacher. I taught for 6.5 years, but our veteran teachers or adults, y'all know that after a while, like la novedad se pierde. Like after a while, they're like, oh, going up to the board, like, or sometimes they don't like going up to the board because they have social anxiety or stage fright. So putting them like at the forefront of the classroom can be very stressful for them. But with GoodNotes, because it's on an iPad, you can be in the back of the classroom and tell them, hey, come and annotate this for me, or you know what, come and peer review this work for me. And while the rest of the class is looking to the front of the board, that student is safely in the back with you, showing their work, and they're not put in that kind of like stressful situation of like, ay, todos me están mirando. But it's good for the planning and it's good for the engagement part of teaching. If y'all have any questions at any point, feel free to put them on the chat. I am just gonna look a little weird because I'm looking at 3 different screens right now. So, and if your question's there and it kind of gets lost, just turn on your mic, shout at me, I'll answer. So some of the other benefits of GoodNotes is, again, the planning aspect of it. I love planning on my iPad because, like, the little pre-task, everything gets saved. I don't have to worry about losing a copy or printing copies or dropping it off somewhere for somebody to review. It's all in one place, especially because it's uploaded to the Google Drive. So what I mentioned in the other session is, especially, hopefully there's some admins on here, just so you know, because it's synced up to Google Drive, teachers can actually share that folder where their lesson plans are being uploaded, and you can access them digitally. So they don't got to print anything out to you. They don't have to walk medio bosque to go to the front office to drop it off to you. Everything is just neatly saved up to the Google Drive cloud. Al igual, if at any point during the lesson something has to be modified and it needs to be reflected on lesson plans or TEs, teachers can easily on the spot take note of the modifications that were done for that lesson, and whatever was changed, it's going to be saved, and admin or department heads can see it live and they can see, okay, something had to be changed to meet the student needs. That's cool. At the same time, like I mentioned, it helps with the teacher power zone aspect. You can walk around, you can make sure kids are actually taking notes, actually following around or following along with the lesson. And it can also help with kind of peer reviews. You're going to see in the next couple of slides that I've asked students in the past, like, who wants to volunteer whatever they wrote or whatever they annotated or their problem solving of a question. Y se emocionan because I can go up to them with my iPad in GoodNotes, take a picture, and annotate their work, either telling them, yes, you met all the requirements, estrellita dorada, or you know what, you missed this capitalization or you missed this number, and it can serve as a class example of like, oh yeah, that one little step, we just have to modify it. Sometimes I've even taken a picture of a student's work, walked over to another student and asked them, annotate it here on the iPad, tell me what did they do, right, what did they do wrong, what can they improve on, and they'll write notes on it because everybody knows les encanta criticar. They will never see their own mistakes, but they can see the 7 different mistakes that Panchito did on their one sentence. And it kind of helps them with that engagement of like, oh, like they feel important acá con el iPad de la maestra, and they love it. At the same time, GoodNotes also has like all these little tools to ensure that either your lesson flows smoothly or that engagement is taking place, kind of a lot like the classroom screen in a way, but just within one app. So for me, these are the benefits that I've seen through GoodNotes. I know some of us are familiar with GoodNotes. If there are any other benefits that you've gotten through them, please let us know in the chat. But these are just kind of like the main 3 that I felt were most meaningful when using GoodNotes. So here are some examples of how I've used GoodNotes for planning specifically. So Mr. Ramirez, student work, and yeah, like for example, like here, I have, or actually let me pop into the other slide. So this is what I mean. So kids will still be on their own, like either journal or workbook, what have you, and I'll take a picture of it within GoodNotes and I'll annotate it. I'll tell them, yeah, you identified this angle correctly or this set of lines correctly, or I'll take a picture of their writing, give the iPad to another student and tell them, did they follow all the grammatical or the conventional rules? And they write on it. I just kind of take a picture and just kind of hot potato it, just kind of pass it around. That's what I meant with the student work. And this is also useful because I kept repeating it in the last session. Artifacts for T-tests at the end of the year. Remember, anything done within GoodNotes is saved on the Google Drive. So al fin del año, when we're all running around like chickens with our heads cut off, trying to find artifacts, guess where they're going to be? Either in GoodNotes or in Google Drive. And all those examples of student work that you took pictures of, they count as artifacts. Para que sepa. Let me go back to the other slide. So for planning. So these are, for me personally, or how I've taught it to other people, the ways that I've used GoodNotes for planning. I've either downloaded lesson plans from either the Google Drive or last year, beautiful Great Minds, Eureka Math. I've downloaded the TEs and I would annotate them on my iPad. Why? Because I believe back then I would hear rumors saying, oh, these are the only TEs we're going to get. They're not going to provide us new TEs. So I thought, well, why not have a digital copy and just anytime I need something, a new TE, I'll download a new one. And whatever I need from the old TE, I'll just copy it, put it in the new TE. And you'll just endlessly have copies to brand new either TEs or lesson plans. If you hear a siren in the background, my apologies. I think it's an ambulance running around somewhere. So ignore that. So that's how I've used it for planning. And like I mentioned before, if you're midway through a lesson and you realize, hey, this didn't work, I had to modify it on the spot, you can easily open it up on GoodNotes, erase, exchange, make the changes for it. And whoever has access to your lesson plans through the Google Drive will see that you had to modify it and no questions are asked. I've used it for data analysis. I download the DMAC reports or the Summit K-12 reports for those of us that do TELPAS, and I'll annotate there. I'll identify, okay, what are my lowest TEKs, my best performing TEKs? What are the kids putting into Summit K-12 that keeps marking them as intermediate or beginner? I've also done it to where I'll do my fluency on GoodNotes because, again, it saves automatically. And these are all useful, especially the fluency one, because when it comes time around to do your RTI paperwork, your 504 paperwork, your SPED paperwork, and you need those student samples, guess where they are? They are in GoodNotes. They are in Google Drive. You don't have to run over to the copy machine or the scanner and fight 7 different people just to make scan one singular document. It's all going to be there. And I've also used it for my own personal note-taking during CLCs or during department meetings, grade level meetings. And again, everything gets saved. And the good thing is, since everything's saved, everything's in one place for when I need it, when I start uploading T-test artifacts at the end of the year. So again, this going back to the student engagement part of it, the way I've used it is either taking pictures of the student's own work. I've done my own note-taking on my iPad. I'm a big fan of using Cornell Notes. Anybody from the middle school or high school level, it's great. You'll see why in a little bit. Or sometimes I'll download the actual student workbooks and I'll annotate it there. And sometimes when, not gonna lie, I get bored, I get tired, I tell the kids, here's my iPad, here's the pen, you solve it. And they don't have to get up, because there's sometimes where a student gets up and they never sit down. Or there's students that often feel kind of shame or are too embarrassed to go up to the board. They don't have to. Stay at your desk, I'll bring the iPad to you and you can show us your work. And it kind of eliminates that kind of excuse for them of like, no, miss, me da pena. Well, no one's going to be watching you. Everybody's going to be watching the board and you get to sit on your desk comfortably showing us the work. And again, this helps also with peer review, especially those of us that do reading, English, grammar, and you have to kind of evaluate essays. They can do that. Am I projecting live during class? Yes, and that's a beautiful question because I'm going to show you the different ways that you can project the GoodNotes app during your classroom. But again, all of this is happening live. I'm displaying it onto my New Line board. I would have a New Line board in my classroom. I know some people might not have a New Line board, but I do believe that our district devices or district laptops should have a program called Montage. I know we would use it before in my campus, and through Montage, I could display the iPad onto my laptop, and then my laptop was connected to my projector or through something else to project to the front of my class. So I'm always projecting my GoodNotes during the power zone. My kids are seeing everything. There was one year where my kids became experts at using GoodNotes. They knew how to open up quick notes and new markers and make new colors. And I was like, where did you guys learn that from? And I was like, me. So sin querer, I was integrating technology to them. So these are just a couple of quick tips on the different tools that GoodNotes has. I am going to go ahead and actually move from the presentation onto my GoodNotes. So If you need to follow along with the presentation, there should be a copy on or within the chat. If it got lost somewhere, if somebody could re-upload it, that'd be great. But basically, I'm just going to show you in real time what these tools look like. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them on the chat. If I'm moving too fast, let me know. But right now, again, I'm back on GoodNotes. So because I've used it, I have my own files there, but if you've never used it before, yours should be completely blank. And the only thing that you see is that blue dotted square that says new. If you see right on top of it, there's a little cloud with a little check mark. That means that everything that I'm about to present or do, it's going to be synced up to my Google Drive and it's going to save. So I'm going to click new. And you're going to see kind of like a list of things that you can pull up. You can pull up an actual notebook, which is basically like an endless journal, a study set, a folder, which is kind of what I have here already, which is just a way to organize your things or your files. You can either upload an image from your own photos album, which is kind of like what I did with my students' work. You can scan a document because, again, you don't got to go fight 7 people for the copier. You can scan documents with just your iPad. You can take a photo. You can do a quick note. A quick note's kind of just like a sheet of paper. I mentioned it before. I do not know if the district membership has the recording feature, but if it does, there's a recording feature. If you're more of like an audio person, just please be mindful that if you're recording other people, you have their permission, please. For this example, I'm just going to do a quick note, which essentially, again, it's just like a sheet of paper. And as you can see, that's all it is. Top left-hand corner, I can change the name of this so that I can organize a little better. I'm going to call this session 4. And again, my middle school, high school people, or anybody that has like a more structured way of taking notes, if you click on those 3 little dots on the right-hand corner and you go on to the 4th tab, it says change template. You can change the way that your paper looks like. So for me personally, I like a good Cornell note setup. I like the lines. I like dividing my questions from my actual note taking. There's a legal paper form of it. 3 columns, single column. There are other things also, but again, as you can see, those are for purchase. You can change the color of the paper if you click up here where it says color. If for some of us, we like writing on yellow paper, or those of us that love the dark mode, you can just have black paper, or you can even customize to your own preference, either neon colors or yellow, green, what have you. I know I've met people that do that. I'm just going to keep it to how I normally have it, which is my Cornell notes. I'm going to click apply. And all that message says is that any new page that you create is going to look exactly like the original. So when I click apply, I have my sheet of paper. Let's say that I'm taking notes and I run out of space. I can drag, and you can see there, pull to add a new page. And it gives me a whole blank one that looks exactly like the one I had before. And you can just keep on adding pages. But now that I've shown you kind of how to write here, at the very top of that list of tools, that's what I'm going to focus on right now. You've got your regular pen. You've got your pencil. Of course, you've got your eraser, highlighter, and of course, our Flair pen fanatics. This will let you make as many beautiful colors as your little heart desires. As you can see, I am a fan of using color. If you work with lines, angles, X, Y, coordinates, all that jazz, you can make perfect lines that suit your needs, and they'll be straight, or shapes with that little shape feature. You have a lasso, which if you lasso or you circle whatever you need, you can move it around to wherever you please, especially those of us that use a lot of manipulatives. You can make your own manipulatives on the spot, like counters, and you can use the lasso. Let me zoom in. To move around your counters to teach kids either how to regroup or how to borrow, et cetera, et cetera. That's how you know I'm an elementary teacher. They'll also see the option for sticky notes. If you love sticky notes, if you love adding stuff, kind of, what's it called, like journaling, you can erase them as well. You can add pictures. So again, for those artifacts that we all love, again, the pictures are that little icon with the mountains and the moon, and then you'll see a little camera. When you click on that camera, it'll take a picture of what you're showing it. Those are my headphones, by the way. And again, if you're working with students, and you want them to annotate their work, you can annotate the actual picture and save it either for documentation or for artifacts later on. You can use a text box. And the cool thing about the text box is, let's say, for example, you are lesson planning and you don't want to have to go through or go back and forth between your computer and your iPad and your TE. And somewhere in your planning process, there are videos. If you create a text box and you label it, let's say, place value video or ecosystems video, once you type it out, if you double click it, you see that little bar, you see the word link. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to go to link settings. And instead of link to document, I'm going to link it to website. And if I want, let's say I'm going to put that to YouTube. I want that phrase or that sentence to take me to a specific video. You can also copy paste the link if you'd like. But if I go back, you kind of see now it's dotted. When I click on it, actually, when I click on it, I can, right? When I click on it, I can go to link settings. And if it's actually linked, I can click on it and it'll take me to that website. So as you can see there, now it says open link. So I can click on it. If it were linked, it would show me a little message saying it's going to take you to an external link. For some reason, it's not working now. It worked with the other session, but it seems like it's not saving it. But you can link videos so that if you're mid-lesson and it's time to show them the video, you can click on it and it'll take you there. But as you can see, it is linked because it has those little dotted lines at the bottom. Again, that's the text box, which again kind of shows you that you don't really need the Apple Pencil or any stylus for that matter. You can just type in. Can you guys, I think somebody tried to join. Can everybody still hear and see me? Okay. So I think somebody was trying to join in through either a dial-up or I don't know what it was. Okay. So again, you can link to external websites. So again, you don't need to go back and forth between your computer and your iPad. There's a ruler here for those that need it. There's also a laser pointer for those of us that need to train our kids to look at a specific area, kind of like a little cat toy. And like I mentioned before, kind of like a classroom screen, that very last button is actually a timer. So if you're working with your students and you tell them you have 5 minutes to complete your summary or 5 minutes to complete the word problem, once you click start, and again, if you're displaying this to your students, they get to see the timer. And as you can see, there's a little progress bar that's kind of like a light blue color. But then if an announcement happens or there's an interruption, you can pause. It pauses the timer. You let whatever happened continue to happen. Once you're ready to continue, the timer can begin again. So again, kind of trying to stick to a schedule, especially if you're team teaching with other teachers, this kind of keeps you on track. Let me go ahead and pause this, end session. So those are the general tools that are kind of presented there on the presentation. Let's see what else. What else? What am I missing? Okay, so those were just kind of like the quick little tools. Let me go ahead and show you how we can use GoodNotes for the actual planning process. So for this, I'm not going to go onto either of my laptops. Everything that I'm about to do is going to be strictly through my iPad. So let's say, for example, I'm going to go to Chrome. And right here on my Chrome app, I'm going to go to Clever Minds, which those of us that are at the elementary level, Great Minds. Great Minds is where we have our TEs, our student editions for our math curriculum, our Bluebonnet curriculum, as it's called now. So again, I'm doing this just through my iPad to show you exactly how easy it is and how you don't have to go back and forth between other devices. I'm going to go into Great Minds, and let's say I want to pull from there my TE for Module 1 or Module 1 and 2. I'm going to pull 4th grade. So when I go in through Great Minds on my iPad on the Chrome app, it's going to download it. And you're going to see on the right-hand corner, there's an arrow pointing down. There's also another arrow pointing up. You don't want that one. You want the one pointing down. You want wherever it says that you need to download it. And as you can see here, there's that bottom box that pops up. I'm going to click Save because I want an original copy of this to save to my Google Drive. You can do it through files, but you would need to create an Apple account or connect your own. Yes, mucho guapo. Stick to Google Drive. And of course, have it logged into your PSJA credentials. So once you click Save, you see that little loading icon at the bottom. We're going to wait for that to close. Once it closes and it's going to say Open, it's going to take me over to the Google Drive app, which again is still within the iPad. Once I have it here, you have those 3 beautiful dots on the top right-hand corner. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to click Open In. And I'm going to open it in GoodNotes. And as you can see, this magical box pops up. I'm going to quiz you on this later on. There are 2 buttons here. There's Import to Current Document. That means that my math TE that I just downloaded is going to be in the same spot as the piece of paper I was writing. I don't want that. Porque luego todo se me empieza a mezclar, and then I don't know what's up or what's down. So what I want to do to keep everything separate and organized is to import it as a new document. Why? Because that's going to save it todo solito on its own. So import document, this might take a while because it's a bigger file, because it's TE. But again, unless you do want your items to be on the same page or the same file, you can click import to current document. But if you want them separate, you're going to have to click import to import as new document. So as you can see here, I start my TE. So that means that from here, I can go ahead and start editing it, writing on it, highlighting it, however my little heart desires. I know one of my colleagues from the last session did let me know to show you guys this at least. At the top right-hand corner where we had those 3 little dots, you see a little flag icon. If I click on that little flag icon, it highlights itself. I'm going to go to under the house that's on the upper left-hand side. Once I click there, you see there's a little red flag there. There's a middle column under the word Pages. It saves all the bookmarks that I have for this file. So if you've ever opened a Eureka Bluebonnet TE, you know how hard it is to find the page that you need to find. You will be there flipping through pages for the next 6 years before you get to Module 2, Lesson 6. But by doing this just once, it'll already be listed here for you to easily find. And remember, we have, of course, our TEs, student books, the Google Slides. We have a bunch of different resources for everybody, apparently. If you are working through this and you see, oh, there's a video, there's a website I need to go to, remember, you can create a text box and hyperlink so that it takes you to that website so that you don't have to be going back to your laptop to open it during class time. Because again, if you're presenting this to your kids, you can just click on that link that you created and it'll take you to whatever video or website you hyperlinked it to without having to do a whole back and forth thing. Now, you've heard me say while you're presenting to the students, what I'm about to show you, I found it out by accident. Those of us that were experts on it, as you told me in the beginning, maybe I might seem silly for thinking, oh, I found this by accident. As you can see here, I have my TE. I'm going to download a student book for this module. If you didn't pay attention the first time, I'm going to show it to you again. How to download and upload to GoodNotes. So on here, I'm going to click on the arrow going down. I'm going to click Save. Remember, I'm uploading it to my drive. So it's all safe in one place. Once it's there, I'm going to click Open. I'm going to open my Google Drive app. Remember, I'm not touching my laptop for any of this. The little ellipses, the little 3 dots. Open in. And remember, this is the student book. I'm going to open it in GoodNotes. And I'm going to be looking at the chat right now. This box popped up. If I want to keep the student book separate from the teacher book, am I going to put import to current document or import as new document? Go ahead and give me your answers in the chat. A ver quién está poniendo atención, because I know alguien se durmió after lunch. I feel it in my spirit. Miren, los que están despiertos son los GT. Yo ya sé. Remember, import as new document para que todo se quede separado and nothing is all mixed up together. So remember, it takes some time, especially when it's a bigger file. So as you can see here, I have my student, and at the top, it starts creating tabs. On my other tab, I have my teacher edition. If I am presenting this in the power zone, in the middle of class, and those of us that are new to the grade level or new to the subject or no sabemos dónde empezamos ni dónde terminamos, this is what I want you to pay attention to so that you look like, wow, they know what they're doing. There's an arrow at the top right-hand corner. At the very bottom, there's presentation mode. There's 3. Mirror your entire screen. That means that the kids see all your business. If you move to another app, they're going to see it. If you open up a note, they're going to see it. Mirror presenter page. The students are only seeing what you want them to see. So if you skedaddle over to another app, they're not going to see it. That's only if you're in mirror presenter page. If you are in mirror full page, they only see one page, but you cannot zoom in, or they will not see what you zoom in on. And again, we're all educators. Siempre hay that one student. No, hombre, miss, es que ocupo lentes, pero no los traje. O mi mamá me va a llevar al oculista el viernes. And of course, they can't see anything past 12 inches from their face. So you want to make sure you're on mirror presenter page, because if you're on mirror presenter page, if you slide up and split your screen, all the kids will see is the student book, while you get to see your teacher edition and the student book at the same time. But again, that's only if you are on mirror presenter page. So again, if you're not sure, or if you know you forgot something from the lesson, split your screen. The kids only see one tab. You get to see everything, and you can go through your notes however you please. Or if something happened and you needed to modify the lesson, boom, ahí en ese momento, write it down, and it's already documented, while still being able to work on, on the student page. But again, this is only able to happen if you're under mirror presenter page. That way the kids see only what they need to see, and you get to see everything that you need on the other side. Is the mirror presenter page setting for the iPad? It's within GoodNotes. Everything right now, GoodNotes. I don't have to go to the iPad settings ni nada. I don't even have to go and touch my new line board or wherever it is that I'm presenting. Todo está aquí. So again, and this is useful also for any subject, because again, this is the math example. If I download the Savas curriculum, which is our reading curriculum, on one side, I can be showing the students the story and we can be highlighting and annotating. And on the other, if I downloaded my guiding questions, same thing. And again, I don't have to be flipping through books, porque ya saben, when they do walkthroughs, you're there, you're already shaking with sweat running down your neck. And then you flip your notes on your page and you start seeing them writing notes. You're like, did I do something wrong? You don't have to feel like you have to memorize everything, porque aquí todo está. And as you saw, I don't touch my computer. I don't touch anything else, just everything that's on my iPad. Fácil, sas. And again, this was all through Breakminds. Let me show you how this works with the Google Drive. Again, not touching a laptop, only touching the iPad. If I go into the Google Drive app within my iPad, let's say, for example, let me go to my recent files. Let's say, for example, I made a copy of the Google Slides presentation for reading or social studies or what have you. Or for example, here I have a copy of the reading lesson plans for the first week of school. Ay, que feo. I'm not gonna lie, me da miedo. But let's say I have this and I want to cross things out or leave things in or add things on. I can simply, again, the ellipses. Don't know who's calling me. I can go to the ellipses on the right-hand corner, open in, and again, this is a lesson plan. I can open it in GoodNotes, import it as a new document because I want to keep everything real pippities nice. And I can go in, zoom in, and edit anything that I need. I can go in and highlight or put a timestamp and tell myself, oh, I need to start this at 8:25 once the kids are done getting their items. Or you know what? I want to move this worksheet over to lesson 2 for Tuesday. Y así, corre y se va. You have everything in one place. You can do this for any subject as long as you are able to download or upload the files within your iPad, within the interface of the iPad. I know sometimes, like for example, iReady reports, or we've all had that issue when we have the iPads. We go into a website and it says, oh, the interface is not compatible with the iPad because the iPad can only take us so far. What you can do is on your laptop, sadly, you'd have to go to your laptop for this. Go to your laptop, download whatever reports you couldn't pull on your iPad, download them to your Google Drive, and if it's in your Google Drive, it can be moved into your GoodNotes. If it's on GoodNotes, you can take it to Google Drive. If it's on Google Drive, you can move it to GoodNotes. Todo va conectado as long as you are signed in with those credentials. So for me, this is already at the end of the presentation. Like I said, I did want to give us time to play around with the program if you're able to play around with it on your own. So we do still have like 15 minutes, I believe, left. So I'm going to go back to my presentation. And we're just going to use the remainder of our time just to mess around with our iPad. Either finish setting it up or download whatever you need to download. I'm going to be here to answer any questions. Just because I know sometimes when we log out, you're like doing it on your own. You're like, oh, like how did you do it? Or if you need me to repeat anything, aquí estoy. But if you have any questions, either turn on your mic or leave them for me in the chat, and I'm happy to help. I know I might have gone a little fast for those of us that are newer to GoodNotes, but remember, it's easy to use. You can learn it at your own pace. You can make it as simple as just using it as your teacher notebook to take notes at meetings. But if you want to take it as far as doing it for your lesson planning or for your fluency tracking, use it for that. You do not have to feel like it has to be the center of your world. You can use it to fit your specific needs. Thank you, ladies. I do believe, I don't know if it's been added, the session evaluation. Thank you, Ms. Rios. If you're able to, or you have access to the conference webpage, please make sure you fill out the session for evaluation. Si se me quedaron dormidos, make sure puros dieces, puros hundreds. If you were awake, I wasn't here, pero pues ya tú saben. If you have any questions or something pops up, I'm still going to be here until 2:55. Here is my information, my email, and the number for my campus. I'm stationed at the CLL at McKeever Elementary. Thank you, Ms. Chavez. You're welcome, Mrs. Esquivel. Yeah, I recently became the CLL at my new campus, and I felt it as a teacher having to run around looking for artifacts. So ya les estoy diciendo ahorita, this is your one-stop shop to keep everything in one place for when May comes around. Ay, ni hemos empezado y estamos hablando de May. Yes, Mr. Ramirez, they'll always be saved as PDFs, at least through Google Drive. But on GoodNotes, you can always edit them. And let's say you did your lesson plans for next week, but then the moment of you had to add something, if you go back and edit it, it'll do the automatic backup and refresh it with the new additions that you did to the original file. But it will show up as a PDF. Does it create new PDFs? No, the original file, once you've annotated it, that's the same one that's going to be shown. No te va a hacer like 3 different copies for the 3 different times that you edited it, if that's what you meant. No problem, Mr. Ramirez. Again, feel free to complete the session for evaluation. Ms. Rios put it up. Thank you, Ms. Rios. Again, I'll still be here if anybody missed anything or you need me to repeat anything. Aquí voy a estar until 2:55. No, Mr. Ramirez, I don't use any HDMI at all. But that does have to do with the fact that at both of my campuses, my prior campus and my current campus, our new line boards had this item called screen beam. It's hard to say. It looks like a little turtle, like a little gray turtle shell. And through that, I'm able to project onto my new line board through, I believe it's Apple Play or screen mirroring on the iPad. So let me show you. Let me go back here. So as you can see, the screen mirroring on the two little screens that are overlapped with each other. My new line board allows me to, with my district iPad, project onto there using, I think it's called AirPlay. I forgot what it was called, but using AirPlay, I can project it. But I don't, like the actual iPad does not need to be connected to the new line board. Me llegaron preguntas. Let me take a look. Classroom for students. Like, Ms. Gutierrez, like post your notes on Google Classroom? If that's the question, yes. Because, like I mentioned before, let me go into my Google Drive. I know I kept mentioning it, but I never actually showed. That's my bad. As you can see here, this is my Google Drive. This is my district Google Drive. There, I highlighted that little folder that's purple. That is the GoodNotes kind of super center where everything is being saved. So what you can do if you have notes that you want to upload to Google Classroom because somebody was absent, you can go into that GoodNotes because again, it's on your Google Drive. So if it's already there, go to Google Classroom and then it's upload from Google Drive, look for the GoodNotes folder and select whatever you want to share with them, y sas, if that's what you mean. Thank you, Mr. Ramirez. Pero sí, Ms. Gutierrez, that's what you can do if you want to share like your own copies with your students. Just make sure, again, that you have the GoodNotes synced up with your Google Drive. That way, it's automatically here. And as you can see, like if I wanted to, like these notes that I have from a previous poem, if I open it up on my desktop on Google Classroom, I can pull this up, share it with them, and they can access it. We've got about 7 more minutes. No problem, Miss Jennifer. Remember, if you have any questions, feel free to share them on the chat.